Hey guys, Insightful here, and today we're going to be going over an airdrop tutorial of the Cosmos ecosystem, what projects you should be targeting, why, and basically how do you get money onto Kelper and the Cosmos ecosystem, how does all that work, because the first time you kind of use the wallet it can be kind of confusing. So yeah, we're going to go over that. Alright, so before we get funds on a Cosmos, let's understand what projects we're targeting and why, and kind of what the thesis is behind it. So basically, historically, if you've staked Atom before, which is kind of like the core project on Cosmos, you know historically have gotten airdrops for other projects that release within the Cosmos ecosystem. Most of these weren't worth a lot over time, but Celestia was the one worth the most by far. So like, what is Celestia and why is it important? So in blockchain, typically a normal blockchain is like a monolithic blockchain, and a blockchain actually has several multiple layers. And then this is a good kind of image summarizing that below. So Celestia basically provides a data layer for blockchains, right? So it's a modular blockchain, which means it is very specific and specialized in a specific area, and projects can use this layer to leverage their project and basically save time and money. So for example, an example given before, it would cost a project like over 100K to implement like their own data layer, or they could outsource that work to Celestia for $1,000. So basically 100 times cheaper. And this is kind of why Celestia has been like FU up only since the airdrop, almost 6xing since then. $12 billion fully diluted valuation. So why are we FOMOing into Celestia, which feels like the all-time top, right? Well, basically there's a plethora or a wide variety of projects that are going to be built on Celestia, and there's a strong chance that if you stake TIA, which is the Celestia coin, you will potentially be eligible to receive all of the airdrops that are being built on Celestia, similar to Cosmos. So notable ones here is Alt Layer, that's a big one. Bear Chains, a large one. Axelar is a cross-chain bridge that's tokenless. A lot of these I need to do more research on or aren't familiar with immediately. Argus is a gaming one. Hyperlane, Kelper wallet that we're using, Leap wallet, other popular Cosmos wallet, Manta Network, which is a L2. So you know, it's reasonable to assume that you will get some sort of Manta airdrop potentially when they do airdrop. Cosmos already has a token, but they're being built off it. But Squid Router, which we'll be talking about later. But yeah, there's basically a wide variety of projects you can potentially benefit from just by staking TIA and waiting, basically. And then there's a few other Cosmos ecosystem projects that we're gonna go into that can potentially get you the same benefits as well. So basically, after you've already set up your Kelper wallet, done the seed phrase, all of that stuff, the other wallet you can potentially use is Leap as well. Apparently it is more user-friendly and the UI is better, but I've already set up Kelper, and I'm not going to download another wallet and reset that up and learn that if I have to. So this tutorial is going to be specifically with the Kelper wallet, but the core concept is going to be the same on the back end. So in my opinion, from what I've seen, the easiest way to get funds onto the Kelper wallet basically is to use app.squidrouter.com, which was that app we showed earlier. It's basically a cross-chain bridge or DEX. You can, of course, always use a centralized exchange as well to withdraw directly to it. So you'll connect your EVM wallet, which would be like your MetaMask, your Rappi, your Rainbow wallet. And ideally you bridge from not an expensive chain, so not Ethereum mainnet or Linea. So, you know, Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, BNB, probably the best for liquidity and whatnot. And then in terms of where you can bridge to, if you scroll down here, you will notice that the coins we're going to be targeting it's going to be Osmosis, Cosmos, Ujira, and then Celestia as well. And then the other one's going to be Injective. So Injective isn't, if you notice, isn't on here. So again, you can use a centralized exchange to withdraw or get over to here. The only other option I've seen is to use app.rocketx.exchange, and then you can basically do a cross-chain swap from there. It is a bit more expensive. The slippage and the fees aren't amazing, but that's probably your best option unless you want to go the centralized exchange route. So how do all the chains work, right? So Cosmos isn't a chain, it's an ecosystem of multiple different blockchains, right? So each one of these tokens is the blockchain itself. So that will be the gas token of the blockchain you are bridging to. So when you bridge from wherever onto Osmos and you're bridging Osmo there, you want to make sure it's on the Osmosis chain. And you'll notice that the address starts with the name of the chain as well, right? Celestia, da 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 da. You know, Cosmos, da 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 da. Cash, da 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 da. So, and you can add these chains manually in the settings as well, or if you interact with the website, it will prompt you to add that chain to your wallet address. So that's basically how you will bridge over. You'll, select the chain you want to bridge from, you'll connect your Kelper wallet, and then you will pick, hey, I want to bridge Arbitrum to Osmo, and I want the Osmo token, and then you'll bridge. It takes like 30 minutes, I think, sometimes, so it can take a while, so just something to note. And as always, if you're not familiar with using any type of app or bridging protocol before, just send a really small amount the very first time you do it, just to make sure, you've done it correctly and you've sent kind of the right token to the right address and whatnot. And then, once that balance is updated in your Kelper wallet, you can be more confident to send more money in the future. All right, so as you've noticed here, you want to go to the Kelper portfolio dashboard or the staking dashboard. That will redirect you to this page. It'll prompt you to stake, but just close that window. And then this is kind of an overview of all your tokens, what you're doing with them, and how to stake them. So you can, manually add your chains here. You can star which ones you want. And then this is basically the page you are going to pick what you want to stake and to what validators you want to stake it to. Now, the idea for this video did come from this Joshy Smart guy, and these are kind of the amount of numbers of each token we're going to be targeting to stake. Historically, based on past airdrops, you needed at least 25 Atom, so you might want to push that to like 30 or 25 TIA just to be safe. But it's hard to say exactly, how much you're going to need, but roughly this is around $100 to $300 worth of all the tokens. Obviously, something like Injective and TIA pumped a lot recently because this narrative and attention is kind of shifting to this area now. People trying to chase the next airdrop. 100 Osmos is about $100. And all these ones are about $200 to $300 for this amount, or slightly more than this amount. So in terms of like what validator do you stake to, basically you want to stake to an active validator. You want to stake to one that doesn't have 20% fees, which is excessively high. And you don't want to stake to one that's 0 because that can be sketchy sometimes. So ideally 5 to 10% of a fee is what you're looking for the validator. And then these are kind of some suggestions of validators he recommends to stake because they're active and they actively vote on governance proposals. So I'm just gonna go over these to show you kind of what the picture looks like. The ones that I staked in Imperator Co. So I staked in the first two, Friends, Stakes Video, and Imperator Co. Those are the ones I did. So for example, we would just pick stake on the Osmo staking and then scroll down. So we don't want to, go to someone that's 100% charging. So again, here's kind of the validators we pointed out earlier. These three. And the other big thing you don't want to do is stake to a centralized exchange validator, because those people that did do that were filtered out for airdrops because that is not as centralized in the project's eyes. So don't stake to like Coinbase Cloud or any big exchange validator. So that's basically the main thing about that. Do note that when you do stake, it takes 21 days to unstake what you've staked to get your funds back. If you want to restake to a different validator, you can do that immediately with no wait time. So you may have noticed that in that staking column, Kujira wasn't there as an option. It is an option in the Leap wallet, but not in the Kelper dashboard. So to do that, you have to go directly to the Kujira site. So as always, find the Twitter, make sure it's real, there's mutuals, it's not the scam Twitter. Go on their website. Scroll down, go onto staking on Blue, click in the top right. It may prompt you to add the Kujira network to your Kelper wallet. If you go to the swap and try to do an action or a wallet there, it will do a similar thing if it's not prompting that. Go to the stake option, pick a validator basically. And then this was weird for me. Like normally it let me I could put the amount here and then pick multiple. I'd get an error. So I had to pick on the validator individually, click the stake, put the amount of Kujira, and then stake it that way. And it says for Kujira, it's 2 weeks instead of 3 to unstake as well. In terms of what validator, I'm not sure because none of them are kind of the similar ones. I would just pick the ones that are not up here. You want to kind of pick the more decentralized ones and, have a reasonable commission fee. And yeah, that's basically it. All right, so now that we know how to get funds and stake, the last thing we should probably point out is governance. So under the dashboard page, you can go over here to active proposals, and depending on where you've staked, it will show if there's any active proposals you can vote on. So You know, is this a criteria? Who knows? It's hard to say, but it's you know, it's reasonably easy, and gas fees on Cosmos are very cheap, generally 2 cents or less than 1 cent of the native gas token. So you can just go on, you know, check once a week, once every 2 weeks. See, usually proposals, you know, are open for like 3 to 7 days. See if there's something you can vote on it, and yeah, that's basically it. Other thing I want to show is the chain visibility. So I mentioned earlier, manually kind of add those chains. You can click the options on the left here, top left, manage chain visibility, and then kind of search for what you want if you want to add it. If you interact with a site for the first time, it will like manually prompt that for you. The other thing I want to note is the swap feature. So let's say, you know, you also want to leave a tiny bit of the token, don't stake all of it for gas reasons. So let's say you accidentally staked all your Atom, and you don't have any gas to vote on the proposal. You can actually do cross-chain swaps from one network to another, and get funds that way. So let's say, oh, I got, you know, $1 worth of osmosis, and you know, I need 5 cents worth on Atom to vote for later, maybe 10 cents worth. You know, you can swap, okay, I'm swapping Osmo token on osmosis to the Atom token on Cosmo, which is that chain. Swap over basically, and you see it was 1 cent there to do that transaction, and that's it. So it took around 30 seconds for the transaction to go through, you know, and around another 45 seconds to get the token. So as we can see here, we now have 10 cents worth of Atom that we were able to get from Osmo. So gas fees are super cheap on here, which is very nice. And yeah, that's basically it. So, you know, what if you have small funds, you don't want to buy, you know, all those tokens that were mentioned. If I had to pick any, you know, I would pick TIA probably, even though it's, you know, up incredibly high, and I painfully had to rebuy after selling at the bottom. Of course, it went up only. It said FU, insightful, you sold it, I'm gonna 6x on you and make you buy back. The reason is because of like just all the ecosystem projects, and I just want to be able to stake the TIA and just let that sit for, you know, 6-8 months and just not think about it or have it do anything down, or have to do anything down the line. Might want to push out the 25 TIA. If you were to pick a second one, I would pick Injective, because there are multiple protocols on Injective as well. Oh, and one more thing I should know about Injective is you want to pick the Black Panther validator and the Talus protocol validator, because they are both having airdrops, and you want to stake to them because they will airdrop you if you stake to their validators. Whether you have to do 5 and 5 or 10 and 10, it's not really clear to me. Talus is also an NFT protocol as well, so you might want to buy NFTs, but they're probably very illiquid, so might not be a great idea. But yeah, for specifically Injective, make sure you stake it to Black Panther and Talus, maybe split up 50-50 between the two. And then the next one would be Atom, probably, just because it's the core base, you know, ecosystem token. And it's around $10, and it hasn't pumped up severely, so it doesn't hurt as much to buy. And then probably, I don't know, Jira and Osmos are kind of in the same boat for me. But yeah, those are kind of how I would rank those if I had to pick, you know, if I had to pick a certain amount of them. So that's basically it. Hopefully you found this video insightful. Follow me here at info_insightful if you want to stay tuned for more airdrops and more videos like this. And yeah, I hope you found this info insightful, and I will see you guys in the next one.